just sit on the side.
Welcome to The Lock Shop with Nielsen and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
All right, 11 o'clock, Oilers and Jets. Welcome to the Lock Shop Bowl. We're going to get into this as we work our way through the day today, and it should be a good one. Haas is going to be popping by here right away. Pat's going to hop on from the airport. He's flying out to Halifax to do some NLL stuff with TSN, I believe. Chaz is in and says, Tigers got 2 birdies through 5 already. You don't have to tell me. I was already bitching about it to Awanik. I go, damn, Tiger, because I got him under 3.5 birds. I didn't expect him to come out and start throwing darts. You see that second birdie rolled in? Like a 20-footer. My goodness, calm down, Tiger. And then Maddie says, what are you doing betting against Tiger Woods? I said, well, this is not prime Tiger Woods. This is washed up, end of the road Tiger Woods, and he's still going to screw me over. So anyway, I'm on a full-blown Tiger Hero World Challenge rant, which is right in the wheelhouse for the Lock Shop, I do believe. We should have an EST parlay coming up here at some point. We've got a Winnipeg Sports Talk parlay that should be posted as well. I'm sure the boys over at Coolbet are working on those right now. Hope to see those pop up in the exclusive section as we work our way through the Lock Shop today. We got a Thursday nighter we're going to set up. It's a busy slate in the NHL. There's a lot of games we can talk to. Edmonton Sports Talk parlay is up. Oh, and it's a good number. It's a good number, 925. Plus 925 tonight. If you missed it, we laid this out on the Nielsen show this morning. McDavid to score, which is a plus money if you just want to bet it on its own. McDavid to score, Draisaitl 2+ points, Bouchard point, Oilers money line, and the total of over 5.5. It's sitting at 6.5. We bumped it down a goal. Play a little bit safer in the parlay, but it is up and it is ready to go. I know what Huss's parlay is too, but the number is not up just yet. It should be up shortly, and we'll have him lay that out for you when he joins us. Yesterday, as we were waiting for Huss to connect, I threw out a little NBA parlay, and we hit it. Huss says he still doesn't have the link, Maddie. Maddie says he sent it. Anyway, he'll connect. But anyway, I threw out a little NBA parlay last night before Huss came on, and it hit. It wasn't crazy. It was basically like you double your money. But it was a no sweater. Lakers absolutely rolled. The Pistons sucked the big one. And the Denver Nuggets ended up being a 10-point game, but the Dank Nugs basically controlled that entire thing. Spency 5 cents, he says, my dad curves his hats like a half pipe. I was talking to somebody last night at the launch of our 6 o'clocker lager, which is now available at Sobeys Liquor. All Sobeys Liquor. I don't know how long it's going to be available for. I saw somebody slide into the hangout and text the boys, and somebody said, the guy behind us bought 32. So he bought a flat. Like if you have a beer fridge, you should go fill it with 6 o'clocker lager. You will not be disappointed. This stuff is absolutely, absolutely delicious. I'm afraid by the time I get there, there's not going to be any left. I want to go into a liquor store and buy our own beer. And I'm afraid there might not be any left by the time I get there. So anyway, last night at the launch party for the 6 o'clocker lager, one of the guys was telling me that you can buy like a machine, not a machine, like almost a brace that you put your hat in overnight to curve it. And you just leave it overnight, you pop it out, it's perfectly curved in the morning, which I like the idea of something like that. Chaz says, I added the magic to it and got it to plus 101. So there you go, plus 101 parlay when you feel really, really, really good about it. I think you have to do that. If the sides aren't touching, it's not enough for Dusty. I grew up on hats like this. I don't know, just like farm hats. Got curved easily, I guess. I don't know, working, whatever. So I grew up with a tight curve. So I've been working on this one for a little while, that's for sure. 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. Beef Nips is in. It says, I sprinkled Tiger to lead any round at plus 1,200 yesterday. Keep the birdies rolling in. Yeah, so we'll see where I'm at. I'm also on Tiger over 71.5 in his first round. So we'll see how she plays out. I would think most people who buy the 6 o'clocker lager today have it they drink it by the end of the game tonight. That's probably how it goes. Caps beating Kins last night. Huss was on that. He called that yesterday. He said he was kind of feeling the Washington Capitals last night. Are we not able to email Huss right now? What's going on? He's emailed him twice. Maybe Huss is checking his wrong email. He's going to slide in here. We can't not have Huss on the day of the Lock Shop Bowl. Velarde apparently a game-time decision for the Winnipeg Jets. We got Thursday nighter that we'll get into as well. And that line moved a little bit. I think it was 9.5 earlier in the week. Sits at 9 right now. It'll be staying at 9, I would think, probably the rest of the way. But the Dallas Cowboys, 9-point favorites at home here against the Seahawks. It's an interesting number. I'm not going to lie. You usually don't think you'd be overly concerned about a 9. I think you probably hop on the dogs in a lot of spots, and I feel like I might still be hopping on the dogs in this spot. But the Dallas Cowboys, when they win big. Mind you, most of their wins have come against teams that are worse than the Seattle Seahawks. So where do you come out on this NFL line? If you want to chime in now, 780-218-9999. Do you like the Seahawks plus the 9 points, or do you like the Cowboys minus the 9 points? Tonight, be interested to see where the Nasty Chat comes out on this as well. Duck Dad said, Huss is going on another NHL pick'em heater. Where is he? People need the man. What is he? Wasn't he he was on the Sharks a couple nights ago, and he's on the Caps last night. We will find a way to get him the link to the show today. I am baffled that he hasn't seen the email link come in just yet. There has to be another email we can send it to him at or send it from or something. I don't know. You texted it to him too? Well, we got to have him. The guy's been absolutely red hot right now. He's going to roll in here. We're pretty much just going to ride with him. NHL tonight. And one thing we're going to try to do in the Lock Shop today is take some positives for the Oilers, some positives on the Jets, and put together. There he is, the man who called the Capitals beating the Los Angeles Kings last night. He joins us now. Huss, what's up, buddy?
Plus 180 last night. Shout out Charlie Lindgren. I actually watched that game. They had no business winning. I think the final shots were 38-15 for LA. But there you go. Listen, quickly, let's address something.
Okay.
Edmonton, Winnipeg tonight. I think that the big brains at Edmonton Sports Talk were preventing me from coming into the Lock Shop today. Allegedly, this link, which comes every day to the same address, was sent not once but twice. It is still not yet shown up. He texted it to me. I had to copy it from my text, email it to myself to break down the walls and get in here to get ready for this game today. So
I do love the conspiracy theory that we were not allowing you to get through, and you found a way to make it happen, because how are you not going to be here today?
That is exactly right. To be honest, I am I don't know about you. I think half the world is really sick right now. I have not gotten better this week, and I have been in the rack.
Really? Just sleeping as much as you can, eh? You're still bringing the heat.
Well, that is a good thing. I'm sort of saving it for these long afternoons doing what we do here. That being said, I did wake up very excited for this game. This is a monster game for both teams.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, look, the Jets have lost 2 in a row, and it's not like they played poorly. Listen, they lost on Sunday night because they played their backup. They rested their starter that was on a heater. Yeah, I mean, listen, I get it. You can't play the guy every night. And UC Saros stood in his head, and then Nashville beat him 3-2. And then the weird thing is that the Jets played the Dallas Stars on Tuesday, and I'm not sure you could have a more different opponent than the Edmonton Oilers than what the Jets dealt with on Tuesday night. So this is going to be fun. I know there's a lot of people on both sides of Saskatchewan that are going to be locked in on this, and probably the entire middle province as well. But I'll say this for everyone that's going to the game tonight or watching it, it should be a hell of a lot more entertaining than the game we saw, because that was a real slog. Dallas did what Dallas did, and that was create a pretty boring hockey game that featured a lot of great goaltending. And I will say this, I think both goaltenders are going to need to be on their A game tonight. Certainly Connor Hellebuck's going to be ready to go, and he's been very, very good since a kind of an un-Hellebuckian start. What's the situation in the pipes for the Oilers? They come in here feeling a bit better about themselves with a few wins under their belt.
Well, they don't play again until Wednesday. So it'll be Stuart Skinner.
What?
Yeah, they have 5 days off after this game. They don't play for 5 days after this.
Is this the player break week? They're doing that before Christmas.
I'm not too sure if that's what this is, actually. I've never really looked into it. I thought it was just kind of a quirk in the schedule. And, so they don't play again. Carolina rolls in here next week. So they're off Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Carolina's here on Wednesday, starts a 6-game homestand. So the Oilers will be leaving everything they have on the ice tonight. Stuart Skinner will clearly be between the pipes. There'd be zero reason to not start him in this game tonight. The real fascinating aspect of this game, and we had our Fantasy Football League commish, Jamie Thomas, on the Nielsen show today, which was awesome to catch up with JT because he used to be on our show all the time. And then when we went to TSN and he was at Sportsnet, we weren't able to have him on. And then, so we had him on today. It was great catching up with JT. And one of the things we talked about there, Hassan, I think it factors into the game tonight, and you can chime in on this too, but the special teams. And the Jets, I was surprised today, kind of diving into Winnipeg a bit. Their special teams have not been great this year. And you could say the same for the Oilers for a bit, but their power play has been going lately. And their penalty kill is 18 for its last 18. Like, one of the reasons that they've won these 3 games is because their penalty kill has legitimately been perfect. And it does look significantly better since the coaching change. Mark Stewart has kind of been put in charge of it by Chris Knobloch, and he's done an excellent job with this. Yeah, he's running
Stu is in charge of the.
He's running the PK, my man, and it's going extremely well right now. So I do think there's a special teams advantage here for the Oilers. But one of the things JT said earlier today is that the Jets are an excellent 5-on-5 team. So maybe there's an advantage there for Winnipeg.
Well, the Jets have been, really good 5-on-5 all year long. It's sort of weird because the Jets were a top 10 penalty killing team last year. And again, we're talking about a smaller sample with a quarter of the season, although it's more now. And it has gotten better over the last sort of 8 to 10 games. But it was ugly for the first 10 or 12. And I don't think it was a coincidence that was the same time where Connor Hellebuck had, an un-Hellebuckian start. And particularly on the PK was where they were getting victimized. Now, they're going to need to be ready to go with that penalty kill tonight. And I guess the best thing they can do is just continue to play 5-on-5 and stay out of the penalty box and not give 97 and 29 and the rest of that crew opportunities at 5-on-4. But it was the Jets' power play that really was the culprit on against Dallas on Tuesday. They had 2 extended 5-on-3s and did nothing with them. And Rick Bowness said as much. That was the difference. In a tight game like that, if you get 2 5-on-3s, you have to make something happen. So I'll say this. I'm sure they spent some time yesterday working on that power play. I'm sure they're spending plenty of time watching video, especially with an improved Oiler PK as of late. But I have a hard time imagining whether we're talking about 5-on-5 or 5-on-4, 4-on-5. This game is going to come down to the best players being the best players, and we know who the best players are. They're all named Connor, frankly. Connor McDavid on the Oilers side of things, who is at peak McDavid levels, it seems. And Connor Hellebuck in net for the Winnipeg Jets. And let's not forget about Kyle Connor, who got a little chilly for the last few games. And let's just say there'll be plenty of Connor on both of the EST and WST parlays tonight. I do have a feeling when we roll into those.
Yeah, WST parlay should be up right away. EST parlay was just posted about 10 minutes ago. I'm assuming the WST will be right behind it. Haas, let me lay out this Edmonton Sports Talk parlay for you, though. Connor McDavid with a goal tonight. That's plus money, actually, if you just want to bet it on its own. So I like that with the way he's been playing. I'm going to go Draisaitl with the over 1.5 points. Bouchard with a point. And then I moved the total from 6.5 down to 5.5 and hopped on the Oilers money line. And it's plus 925 for this one, which is a really nice number. I do like that. You did mention, there should be scoring chances in this hockey game. This should be the opposite of playing against the Dallas Stars. So I moved it down because we're going to get it into a boosted parlay and put it at 5.5. but I really like 6 goals at least to be scored in this game. Where you come out on that 6.5 total? You on the over there?
I mean, I think I would lean that way. Although, I mean, I would love to see our Connor step up and be the best guy in the game, and maybe keep that to the under. That would be definitely advantageous for Winnipeg. But if you look at just their last 5 meetings between these teams here in Winnipeg, the Jets are 4-1 in the games, and the over is 4-1. I mean, there's been a lot of goals. I mean, both of these teams like to skate, and I think that, at least, and again, I will say that the Jets this year are a different team. I mean, they're better at some of the things that, like they weren't as deep as they were before. Like Rick Bowness is going to have no issue throwing their fourth line out there for 8 to 10 minutes tonight, unless they're chasing the game, at which point, they lean on the Scheifele and Connors and Perfettis and Ehlers a little bit more. The other thing, and this will kind of, play into some props. And I think I mentioned this to you on Wednesday's show, that we actually had the line blender got taken out of the cupboard, and it had been there for a month. So Nikolai Ehlers right now looks to be skating alongside Scheifele and Connor, and that certainly makes for a very, very lethal top line. It's just a matter of Ehlers is such a different player than most others. He does do a lot of east-west as opposed to just north-south, and it hasn't always worked with Mark Scheifele, but I'll tell you what, I mean, they got better throughout the game, and I think gave them some optimism that those guys can drop the puck tonight and be ready to go toe-to-toe with that top line on Edmonton, if they have that matchup. But I think, listen, this is a game in Winnipeg, and I think you're going to see, or Connor McDavid in particular is going to see plenty of Adam Lowry, Nino Niederreiter, and Mason Appleton, who have
That's the key, hey? You're rolling them out there the whole time against that line? Yeah.
Dude, those guys are arguably the second line on the Jets. I mean, it will give the Scheifele line the number 1 status just because of what they do offensively. But I'm almost positive you can bet that Adam Lowry will be out there with this line taking that first face-off, presumably against McDavid. And they'll probably look for that matchup more and more. But it won't be, I think, such a hard matchup game like we've maybe seen in the past, where you're just hanging on for dear life against McDavid, and you'll hope that the guy that's out there is going to be able to do it. Because the Jets, I think, at 5-on-5 at least this year, have really earned the confidence of their coaching. So it's going to be interesting. But those Ehlers props, which
now, but Velarde's a game time decision, right?
Yeah, and listen, with Velarde, the way that it looks. And this didn't seem to be the plan when Scott Arniel was behind the bench, but it sort of changed a little bit now that Bones is back. Arniel had originally said that Velarde was going to go in as a like he's a top 6 player. He'll be in the top 6 when he plays. It looks like if he plays, he might go in for the first game, or at least the first part of the game, on the 4th line, but still be part of that number 1 power play.
Okay.
And they, as I mentioned, they did work on the power play for obvious reasons yesterday. And it'd be nice to see see Velarde back in there if he is good to go. If not, we'll probably see him on Saturday afternoon against the Blackhawks. By the way, we have seen a bit of a line movement here. This game opened this morning when I was looking at it. Edmonton was a slight favorite at -114, and the Jets were -103.
That's what I saw it at too this morning. Yeah.
Yeah, it's now a pick'em, -108 on either side.
Okay. We'll build a little parlay here together on this game, but I do see the Winnipeg Sports Talk parlay is now up us. It is plus 550. What do you got on the line over there?
All right. Well, this is a night I wanted to see. It's difficult because we don't have like save props for goalies. It would have been fun just doing a Connor parlay where everyone's involved. But I am looking straight at 81 to get a goal tonight. So he will be the goal scorer on the WST parlay. We'll add his running mate, Mark Scheifele, to score a point. And the Jets' workhorse on the blue line, who's probably going to be playing big minutes tonight, and Josh Morrissey to get a point. And the Jets to win on the money line. And that is in at plus 550. So a Connor goal, points for Scheifele and Morrissey, and the Jets to win in regulation and overtime in a shootout, plus 550 for the home team.
Okay, so if we put something together here, we probably got to throw a total in here. So are we on the over here?
I mean, how can we not be
Yeah.
really with these two teams?
I know.
As I
I
said,
feel like we
4-1
have to
in
be.
Winnipeg.
Yeah.
4-1 in Winnipeg the last time. I mean, hey, 6-1 for the Jets is still an over. That's fine.
Still
You know.
a funny guy. We got a funny guy here today, everybody. Everybody, Huss.
Yeah. Hey, no, I'm trying to will myself into very positive vibes because I think I mentioned this to you on the Lock Shop, and I know there were some WSTers, popping in. Obviously, they love your show. They love the fact that we're on at different times. They can kind of go back.
Works
and
out
forth.
well, yeah.
And they were having a little bit of fun when things were the darkest. And I said on our show, listen, do not go in there being all cocky. This is the equivalent of doing the wave in the second period, you dummies. Because we got a game on November 30th here. I have a hard time believing that they won't be playing better by that time. In fact, maybe be significantly playing better. And we'll be hearing about it for a long time if everyone's flapping their gums and the visitors come in and win, and all of a sudden we're back to square one. So, I mean, I think we can definitely take the over.
I'd like to
and Connor goals.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say I got the Connor goal in the other one. I like McDavid over 1.5 points at plus 112 too. So I very much like McDavid 2 points tonight.
Let me see here. Let's see if we can get a 2-pointer on the Jets side of things.
Connor's plus 195. Scheifele's plus 245. Nino Niederreiter's plus 610.
Centers of attention. Mark Scheifele and Kyle Connor both to record 2 points.
Scheifele and McDavid.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to do that?
Let's do it.
All right. So it'll be Scheifele over 1.5 points. McDavid over 1.5 points. The over 6.5 in the game. And Jake, if you're watching, I like that name for it. Centers of attention. Let's do that. I like that. That's a good idea.
Lock Shop rivalry parlay.
Yeah.
Centers of attention.
Cheer for goals, boys. Cheer for goals tonight. If you are listening right now, you can text us anytime, 780-218-9999. Of course, in the Nasty Chat, you can chime in there as well. Huss, it is a busy, Pat's going to pop by here. I don't even know. Can you see if he's there yet? You can usually see.
I know he's not there.
Okay,
yet.
So he's going to be connected in from the airport today. So he's going to join us. We're going to get into the Thursday nighter here. Anything else on the Oilers and Jets, Huss, or should we take a look on a busy slate in the NHL here?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think God knows we're going to be, you've probably spent enough time talking about this game. We're going to be getting into it big time on WST. Billick and Rowicki will come by. The bow hunter himself, Tom Gazzola, with an appearance on WST.
You're going to make him wear the camel?
You know what? I hope he does. Let's get into the bow zone on WST today.
Yeah.
Was he doing that out of town or something like that?
No, he does it in town, but he does it on these three that I'm doing post game on. It's at 7:00 right during the game, so he can't watch the whole game. So it's tough to throw him into post game, right? So I don't mind hopping on post game. It's been pretty fun here, actually. People are pretty fired up. So.
Well, they seem to be winning with you doing the post game right now. Gazzola gets all the doom and gloom. It's over. Blow up the franchise games. And then Dusty rolls in for a little bit of spot duty, and we're on a heater. All right. The Oilers are back.
So Pat has connected. He's at the airport. So maybe we'll save the rest of our hockey slate. Let's bring in Pete Greggy because he's at the airport. Probably can't stay for as long as usual. He's on a flight heading out east, I believe. We'll get into that. We'll talk some NFL, and then we'll come back and get to the rest of the NHL slate. Mr. Gregoire, how are you, buddy?
Doing good, boys. Yeah, doing good. Just at Pearson. Probably the quickest I've ever gone through security here at Pearson. And if you've ever flown here,
wow,
it's usually not a quick venture. So all is good here. Getting ready to head out to Halifax for the TSN NLL season opener. We got a back-to-back, a doubleheader. It starts out in Halifax and Saskatchewan, all Canadian matchup, 7 Eastern, 8 o'clock Atlantic. So the nest will be nice and lubed up with $5 beers, and then we flip it over to the West Coast for Vancouver taking on.
Is this
Panther
tonight,
City
Patty, or tomorrow?
tomorrow?
Okay, I was going to say you're not flying in game day, are you? That's
Oh God,
yeah,
no.
okay,
Oh
good.
God, no. No,
Yeah.
no.
You know-
We'll get out there.
It's funny you mentioned Pearson. I don't know about you, Dusty, but after Grey Cup, we had a 10 a.m. flight. So we're coming in on Monday morning at like 8 a.m. to go through security. I think I was through in like 8 minutes. Like, it was crazy fast. And when you think about what a disaster that place was, just a little while ago, coming out of the pandemic, they have figured it out.
Well, it's funny
And
you bring this up because same thing. So we had that CFL wrap party, so I didn't go to sleep. I went back, got my stuff at 5 o'clock, got into a truck, slept for about 45 minutes on the way to the airport. The guy I was traveling with really wanted to be at the airport early because it's Pearson, and I was like, fine, I get it. Like, I don't think we need to be there that early. But so our flight boarded at 8:20. We got to the airport just after 6 o'clock. I was literally through security by 6:07. I was like, oh my God, like I had 2 hours to kill. Luckily, I found a place and had a nap for 2 hours, which was awesome. But I couldn't believe it. It was like I was the sixth person in line at airport security at Pearson. It was wild to me. Now my next time coming through there will be on December 23rd. So it'll be a little bit of a different story, but hopefully it's smooth. Hopefully it's smooth.
For your nap, did you go full horizontal on the ground, or did you find a chair that you could sort of sleep in?
I not to brag, but I'm a platinum member with WestJet. So I was in the WestJet lounge, but the WestJet lounge, it was really busy. So I found like a higher back sort of chair, and I set my big carry-on up as like almost a block. And then I set my alarm for 8 o'clock in the morning and just passed out. And then I wake up and my alarm had been going off for like 5 minutes. I'm like, oh, what's going on? And the lady sitting across from me, she looks at me, she goes, oh, sir. So a nice little lady, she goes, oh, sir, I'm glad you woke up. Your alarm's been going off for 5 minutes, and I thought you were going to be late for your flight. I'm like, no, sorry, lady. It's just classic Grey Cup, you know? So I actually ended up getting a pretty good snooze in. But yeah, it was fun.
One other quick thing, and this is more for Jet fans and people that go to games, taking a look at P. Greggy's look right now. Pat, two of our favorite game promos are the stash cam and the hoser cam, where they identify guys with plaids and toques, and you could actually be on either one of them right now. So it's perfect. It's almost like you were coming here to the Peg for this big one tonight. Hey,
what happened to P. Greggy from Toronto? Hey, like, this is weird.
Hey, what do you think about our, what do you think we just put together? We've each got an EST and WST parlay, but we've gone on the over for the game and the centers of attention, over 1.5 points for Connor and for Scheifele tonight.
And it's up.
Yeah, I
plus 900.
Oh,
of course it is. Of course it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I really like that one there. I don't want to pick a side, to be honest, not because I don't want to choose between one of you guys
it's a pick 'em right
your
now,
fan
too.
bases. It's just, I just don't really know if I can get a correct read. Let's be honest. I think if you go off of recent play and even when you factor in how well Edmonton has played over the last couple of games, I think you can't argue that the bigger sample size shows that the Jets are the better team right now. But with that being said, if over the past couple of games, what we've seen from this Oilers team, and they are in fact back, I think this is a really tough one to choose. I think if you don't have a rooting interest like myself, I think you take the over. I think you hammer a bunch of these exclusives, a bunch of these props. You sit back and you watch, because one thing we do know is both teams can score at will. And with the way that, even though Edmonton has turned their offense on, the defense is still has yet to been found as well. So I think it's going to be a great game. I'm looking forward to watching it. And just so you guys know, we always like doing our transparency reports here. For the month of November, the Lock Shop has not been too friendly to the book. So we had the fellas do some digging here. If you bet $10 on every single Lock Shop parlay, you would be up $208.
Nice. That's okay, I guess.
That's got to be the best run we've ever been on. I mean,
impressive, very impressive. If you actually throw mine in there with the Patty G's teas and the primetime parlay, you're looking at an additional $75 as well. So
Have
it's
you
been
been
a tough go.
reprimanded?
I honestly, I might not be hopping back on a plane. I might have to find a new spot in Nova Scotia. I might not be allowed back. I don't know. But no, in all seriousness, it's been great. That's what happens, right? It's ebbs and flows of betting. You can't expect this run to go on forever, but that's why they call it gambling. You take risks, and right now it's going really, really well for you guys. And it's not your guys' fault. You have a great fan base that likes to support you as well, right?
Yeah, no, it works out very well. That is true. Let's get into this Thursday nighter, and then Huss and I will kind of get back to the NHL because it's a busy slate here too. But what are you going to say, Huss?
Spency 5 cents in the chat. Oh, looks like I picked a great month to take a break from gambling.
Looks like I picked a great month. That's a good line, Spency. I like that. The line in the Thursday nighter is 9 here, Pete Greggy. We talked a lot about the Dallas Cowboys just blowing teams out in their wins, but a lot of those teams have been worse than the Seattle Seahawks. So I find this number very intriguing tonight. Do you like a side one way or the other?
I really don't, because we said, if Dallas covers these big spreads, they beat really bad teams. Is Seattle a really bad team? We thought maybe a month ago they were a good team.
Yeah.
I don't know if they are a good team, but I don't think they are 9 points worse than this Cowboys team. And maybe we should have called to the pen for the fisherman, the man who sniffs out all the fishy lines, Jake Bolomas. But to me, this does seem like a fishy line. And maybe this is a point where I take the fishy line, I eat the cheese, and I go for the plus 9.5 or whatever it is now at Coolbet. But I just think it's too big. But this Dallas team, man, they have been scoring at a historic rate at home. Like they are averaging, I don't have the number in front of me, but I do believe it's like close to 40 points per game.
That sounds about right at home, man. Yep.
They absolutely light the lamp when it comes to scoring at home. So I kind of like them over the team total at 28.5 minus 122. I think that would be my best bet. But I probably could be convinced in Seattle keeping this close, because I think that even if this is a close game, if they don't cover the spread, I still see the Cowboys putting up some good numbers here as they've done at home, each week.
Huss, where do you come out early on this one here?
You know what? I mean, listen, I've been taking the points against the Cowboys in a number of games. And just like Patty said, at a certain point, you're like, okay, Dallas versus bad teams, just hold your nose and lay it. I'm not convinced that Seattle's in the sort of category of team that they have been beating up on.
Exactly.
Listen, they're coming off 2 pretty bad losses and really 3 bad ones in the last 4. And the one game that really concerns me when I think about this one is 4 weeks ago when they went to Baltimore and just got dismantled by the Ravens 37-3. Like, I kind of think of Dallas as probably in a Baltimore sort of tier of teams. Now, listen, Baltimore's right now in first in the AFC, so maybe I'm giving Dallas.
Yeah, I'd probably have them just slightly below where Baltimore is at, I think.
But I think about what happened when Dallas played the Niners. We just saw Seattle play the Niners last week, and it was basically the same thing.
Yeah, not far off.
I mean, what they put up 13 points. One of them was a pick six. So basically they scored 2 field goals. I have to think that their offense is going to be able to put some points on the board. I know Dallas is going to be able to put some points on the board. So I think I lean to the over 47.5 in this game. But I always do take a side in these games, and I think I'm going to take the points with the Seahawks. I just still have a hard time laying such a big number. And all it's going to take is like a good start from Seattle. Like if they can go out and get the first points on the board, then all of a sudden we're talking about a game. I mean, listen, if Dallas steamrolls them and it's 14-0 in the first quarter, it could be a long night and we'll just be leaning on the over. But I do think we'll see some points. Both teams have a full week. I mean, this isn't the short week where one team played on Sunday. They both played on Thanksgiving. So as I said, I think the Cowboys win this game, but I think Seattle can hang in it. but I'm going to lean on the points. So we're going to take the over 47.5 and Seattle +9.
I like Seattle +9 too. I'm with you guys. I just think it's a pretty big number considering the Cowboys have crushed bad teams. I don't view Seattle as a bad team. I mean, their losses to they lost a tight one to the Rams. They lost to Cincinnati, and that's when Burrow was getting a bit better. They lost to the Ravens and they lost to the Niners. Like that's with Burrow for that window there with the Bengals. Like I don't know. I think they've lost to some pretty good teams along the way. And do we view the Cowboys as a pretty good team while they've really only beat really, really bad teams? So I do like Seattle with you guys as well. I also like the over in this football game, huh? So I'm with you on both of those. What about player props, guys? P. Greggy, what do you got that we could throw into a little parlay here?
I really have been hammering like during this run of this Cowboys offensive explosion. I know CeeDee Lamb and Prescott have been putting up crazy numbers, but quietly it's been Brandon Cooks as well as that clear number 2. Surprisingly, over 3.5 receptions is plus money. He's hit this in the last 3 games. He's averaging almost 5 targets over his last 5-6 weeks. Last 6 games, he's put up almost 400 yards from scrimmage, and that's including 26 touches. Like it seems almost automatic with the way that he has been playing lately. So the fact that we're getting it at plus money, I really like it as well.
The over the 3.5 for catches, right? Yeah, I was going to say yardage. I was just looking at the yardage for him, 41.5.
I like the yardage as well too, man.
Yeah, he had 72 in the Thanksgiving Day game. He had 42 on only 3 receptions in the Carolina game, and then he had 173 against the Giants. Very quiet game against Philly. But he's got over 41.5 in 4 of his last 5. I'm not sure what's the juice on the receptions because it's -110 on the yards.
It was plus money on the receptions, Pat said, right?
Yeah, plus 120.
Oh, really?
Plus 120 on the receptions. Yeah.
But you do bring up a good point, Huss. Like he could get
42
yardage
in one play, like with the way you're right. Like that's why it's -110, and the other one's plus 120. I mean, for throwing into a parlay to get a little boost, I think I like the yardage a little bit better at 41.5. Huss, what are you looking at for player props?
I'm just trying to look at Tony Pollard and his receiving number. That receiving number at 20.5 seems a little low. But again, you know what? He's not getting big-time yardage on his receptions. Like he's sort of averaging less than 5 yards per. He had 6 for 24 against the Commanders, 4 for 19 against the Panthers.
Yeah, he's getting targeted a lot, but not doing a ton with it, right?
His rushing total 79, 61, and then 3 straight in the 50s. What's the rushing number for Pollard? Player rushing yard, Tony Pollard, 63.5, and it's over. I might lean to the under Tony Pollard 63.5 at plus 120, to be honest with you. I think this might be a DAC game.
Well,
the only thing that kind of concerns me with this is that the Seahawks pass defense is actually really strong and their rush defense has actually struggled as of late. So
yeah,
that would be why the number is where it's at. Like, because what'd you say? 60, 65? What was it?
63.5, which he's
gone over that once in like the last 2 months.
Yeah. And it was last game against Washington.
Yeah.
Who's not particularly good. And he's only been getting 12, 15, 12 carries. But the fact of the matter is, if they think that they can spend a little bit more time rushing on Seattle, maybe that does go up. What about Zach Charbonnet on the other side of it? 52.5 is his total. Over is -123. The under is 52.5 at plus 102. Dallas, particularly, and maybe it's because they've been getting up on these teams and they've sort of had to pass, but like I don't remember anybody running all over Dallas, and I think this is going to be People will stay away from that. I guess I don't really have a strong lean on either side of that.
What's I don't have it in front of me. I probably should, but what's JSN's receiving yardage? Because he's really started to heat up in this offense.
43 and a half and 4.5 catches.
4.5's a little bit high for me, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
43 isn't bad. He's had 40 receiving yards in 6 of his last 7 games. And I mean, we are taking them to cover the spread. So
they have to have somebody get something done there.
Close,
yeah.
Right. So that's why I was trying to think who do we want to, although if we did want to go with Pollard under, then that also aligns with our
game script
Seahawks bet as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my only thinking. But I do think even if Seattle does cover the 9, like I still think that this offense for the Cowboys are going to at least, put up some good numbers. So it's a little bit of a double-edged sword.
Hus, what do you think if we were to go JSN, Brandon Cooks over? What else would we throw in there?
JSN at 43.5, Brandon Cooks at 41.5. I was just looking at the passing totals. Dak 2 touchdowns is minus 208. Like that's almost bad. And like, do you want to go with 3 touchdowns, like over 2.5 for Dak? I think that might be a little bit much.
Yeah.
What about a Geno Smith pick?
Right.
Minus 154 on that one. We've got Geno Smith passing touchdowns over 1.5 plus 175. That's a pretty juicy number. Or how about this? What about just Geno pass completions over 22.5 minus 110?
Gonna have to be throwing quite a bit in this ball game. You're thinking to keep pace with the Dallas Cowboys.
I think they're gonna need to. I mean, let's face it.
I think so. I like that actually. Was it 22.5?
Doesn't mean.
Yeah, 23 completions. Let's do.
Are we also adding this Seahawks plus 9.5 to our parlay as well, or are we?
No,
I think just do player props here. Yeah.
Okay.
If anything, or the over. Like if we wanted to put something like in between the two.
I was just saying because if we don't include the Seahawks plus 9.5, even if they don't cover and they're chasing, then that even kind of I think either way you script it. Either if they keep up with it or they're getting blown out.
Yeah.
I think Geno's going to have to throw the ball.
Yeah.
So I kind of like that.
Yeah. Let's do that. Let's go Geno on the over on the completions, and then JSN and Brandon Cooks over on their totals.
Do we want receptions or yards? So
I think we want the yards with Cooks. I feel better about the yards with Cooks.
Yeah, yards for sure for Cook. Let's just quickly get his game log up here.
I was thinking yards with JSN as well, but Huss, take a peek just because he's been targeted. Like last week, 2 catches for 41 yards. The week before that, 3 catches for 40 yards. The week before that, 4 catches for 53 yards. It's targeted 3 times last week, 6 times. I feel like it's kind of like the Cook's recipe where,
he breaks off one.
Yeah, like he needs
a couple shorter ones.
He needs like 3 catches to hit 40 some yards, right? So I don't know. I'd lean that way, but Huss, where you come on to that?
He's averaging, and it's been going up. It was 12, 10.5, 13.3, 13.3, 20.5, and that of course was against San Francisco. Yeah, let's go with the yards. That'll be the easiest. We got 2 yardage props and a completion prop for Geno.
Beauty.
Perfect.
Okay, so we'll pass. I know the boys are watching right now, so they'll get that up, and we'll have that for you a little bit later on. It should be up. Well, we'll let you get going on your flight, buddy. Hopefully, where are you sitting? You in the aisle? In the window? In the middle? Where are you at?
Are you in the WestJet Platinum Lounge?
Dude, do you realize how many flights I had to take to Regina this year to get into the Platinum Lounge on WestJet? Give me a break, eh? Like,
I'm Air Canada, so sorry about that. I am thinking I'm probably just going to miss out on hitting the 25K like by like
Ah,
honestly like a few thousand. So
that sucks.
Maybe it's one
For the
trip
year.
to Winnipeg, one trip to
That's what I
Edmonton, and
mean.
you're gonna
That'll
be
get it
fine.
done.
That might get it done. We might have to get that over. We might have
High
to
level
get
lock
that
shop
over.
meetings.
Yeah, we might have to get it for the year so I can hit my 25K for the year. So more restarts. But Haas, I wanted to let you know a little rooting interest for some Manitobans on Friday night. Both teams actually have the lone players from the province of Manitoba. Luke Magnan from Halifax, and then Jarrett Smith from Saskatchewan. Both those guys there, just the two players from Manitoba. I think one's playing. I should know this. It's in my notes. I forget where exactly in Manitoba, but one's right in Winnipeg. So lacrosse is growing everywhere.
There's a good there. I mean, it's not maybe as big as it is in some of the other parts, but there's a good program here. And just quickly while we're at it, so this is the opening of the season right now.
Yeah, so this is the opener. It's I mean, we got the lines there on CoolBet as well.
Yeah,
This is
who
the
do you
opening
like?
weekend.
Who's your pick for the NLL championship? San Diego Seals are the favorite at plus 450. Buffalo and Toronto Rock plus 550. Halifax 11-1. Philly and Colorado 12. Calgary 13. Vancouver 14. The Georgia Swarm. Is that a new team? Never heard of them.
No, they've been around for a little bit.
And the New York Riptide. Or who's going to score the most goals? Who's regular season goals? Jeff Teat is the favorite at plus 265.
Yeah, Jeff Teat's he's essentially the Connor McDavid of lacrosse right now. A little bit of a prodigy. If we're looking for some value bets on NLL champion, I'd look. If you look a little bit further down the board, Calgary is a team that I think they can really make some noise. They had a real strong year last year. They lost their coaching staff. They got plucked by Vancouver, but virtually they keep the exact same roster. They only have 2 new players on their active roster to start the season, so not a lot of turnover. Another team with some value there, I think Philadelphia. They're a team that really can get over the hump. But I think if you're looking more for like a safer bet, I guess you could say, I think Buffalo really could run it back. They're an absolute wagon. They got over the hump. This group lost 2 consecutive championships in a row, 3 over the last 6 years. So I could see Buffalo running back or Toronto. They're a great team. They made some really good ads as well. So that would be my favorite plays for future bets. If you're looking for a play on one of the games that will be on TSN on Friday, I'm not going to give a pick out for the game I'm calling. Don't want to do that. But in the nightcap, in the 10 p.m. game Eastern on the West Coast, Vancouver taking on Panther City. Vancouver, an underdog right now. I think this is a team that completely turns things around. Brought a new coach, like I said, from Calgary. Strong defense. Their offense should be able to put up good numbers as well. So I think there's some value on the Vancouver Warriors on the money line.
What is Panther City Lacrosse Club? Where's that?
So that is Fort Worth, Texas.
Really?
I did not know that was Panther City, but now we do.
I mean, not many people know that as well. And I don't know if it's the best idea for a league that's trying to garner attention and figure out, the growth of it. But hey, that's here nor there. Panther City, so they're actually a pretty good young club. Down in Fort Worth, but they're traveling up to Vancouver. They've got some guys from the West Coast, so a little bit of a homecoming, which is always a tough draw for Vancouver or Toronto. It's similar in the NHL. You always see Ontario-born guys light up the Leafs because they have family and friends there. Very similar in the NLL when they do play in Vancouver or in Toronto. But I don't know. I like Vancouver. I really like Kurt Milosky, what he's going to do with that group. So and you're cheering for a Canadian team, so I'd go Vancouver money line.
Nice, and it's on TSN. So we'll look forward to your broadcast first, and then a little plus money on the Vancouver Warriors in the nightcap.
There we go. Bet the over in Halifax, Sask. Who cares? Yeah,
get the goals.
My mind.
Get the goals.
Get the goals.
Yeah, that's not bad. Huss, what's coming up in Winnipeg Sports Talk today, buddy?
Well, tons of Jets Oilers. Gazzola's going to be coming on fresh out of the Bozone. We'll also have Billick and Brandon Rowicki from Skates and Plates. We'll hear from Rick Bonus and more of the Winnipeg Jets. And if you missed Gabriel Velarde's comments yesterday, he's still pissed off at what his former teammate Blake Lizotte did to him. So we'll have those if you missed them as well. But he looks to be ready to return a game time decision. We'll see if we got any more information on that. Then, we'll catch you tomorrow with some big picks for the week in the NFL. Patty, have a great weekend, man, and a good call.
Thanks, boys.
Have a good day, boys. Lock Shop Partner Parlay is now up as well, plus 525. That's a quick turnaround, but that 3-player prop parlay we just put together is up in the exclusives as well. For Pat Gregoire and Huss, I'm Nielsen. Lock Shop will be back tomorrow at 11 o'clock Mountain Time. All right, let's get into it. It is the Fantasy Football 5 brought to you by Century Casino and the Sports Bar and Lounge over on Fort Road. You can join Lieutenant Eric tonight. Oilers game will be on, plus the Dallas Cowboys. And he's so fired up over there. He's screaming. He's excited. Dallas Cowboys and the Seattle Seahawks tonight. You know, it's funny. Eric took the Seahawks earlier today to cover, and myself and Pat and Huss also all took Seattle to cover. So Dallas is winning by 20 plus, right? You know that's going to happen. As for fantasy, if you have any fantasy football questions, you can fire those over right now. 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999, or hit me up in the nasty chat. We got 2 guys in the goalie coming up here in less than 10 minutes at Edmonton Sports Talk. Tell your friends about us. We think they would like what we are doing over here, both on YouTube and on TuneIn and at edmontonsportstalk.com. Starts and sits for the Thursday Nighter. We just got a Geno Smith over in the completions. In one quarterback leagues, though, he'd be a questionable start to me in one QB league. 2 QB leagues, obviously Geno Smith's a great get. This would come down to if you're in a streaming quarterbacks situation, probably go with Geno. This is an interesting one. This is from the Action Network that churns out some pretty good fantasy football stuff as well. Geno Smith has taken on the 49ers and Browns this season, 2 of the top pressure-rated defenses behind Dallas, and the best Smith could muster in those games was a QB 20 finish in fantasy, and they are suggesting that you avoid him in all QB1 formats. I think I'd still have some time for him, but hopefully you're in a spot that you don't need Geno Smith this week. Zach Charbonnet, you're starting him probably in a expectations of an RB2 score, somewhere between 13th and 24th this week. DK Metcalf, you're starting. Tyler Lockett and Smith-Njigba, I would say, are flexes at best, and likely you would have 3 better options to a wide receiver, 1 at flex, but those guys would be flexes at best. Brandon Cooks, flex for sure. I think you put him in the flex spot. Obviously, CeeDee Lamb is a must start. Dak is a must start. Tony Pollard is a must start. Jake Ferguson is probably a little too touchdown dependent for my liking, but not an awful play either. But nothing that I would be overly excited about. But if you have a Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb stack in fantasy right now, you got to be feeling pretty good about this, I think. You got to be in a pretty good spot right now, because those 2 guys have been absolutely on fire. I was going through Dak Prescott's game log a little bit earlier on when we were doing Lock Shot. Let me lay this out for you. Man, am I going up against Dak in the 16-team league this week? If you're going up against Dak Prescott right now, you're in a lot of trouble. Here's Dak Prescott's recent. What's that? I'm going up against Mahomes. Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm going up against Mahomes this week. Well, to be honest with you right now, I'd rather go up against Patrick Mahomes than Dak Prescott. Dak, in his last 5 games, how about the run that this dude's on? You almost get the sense that Dak's going to be hurt right away. It's just, that's going to happen. Because whenever Dak gets going really good, something happens, and he's like, damn, maybe this was it. Maybe this is the time. Dak's last 5 games, this is league-winning stuff. 304 yards, 4 touchdown passes, and a pick. 374 yards, 3 touchdown passes, no picks. 404 yards, 4 touchdown passes with a pick, but also a rushing TD. 189 yards, 2 touchdowns. And then last week, 331 yards and 4 touchdowns. Dak Prescott is going to single-handedly win you fantasy leagues this year if this continues. Double 3A says, do I start Kirk or Lockett? I would probably start Christian Kirk in that situation. Thank you very much. Duck Dad says, I'm off to find the 6 o'clocker lager. The FOMO is just too much. And that's what we're talking about right here. 6 o'clocker lager. Pick this up now. I know somebody said they were just in at one of the locations up on 118th Ave, and they bought a flat, and there's only 3 flats left there. I think all of the local, like Edmonton-based areas got 5 flats each. We're going to move this stuff quick. So go to Sobeys, Safeway Liquor, get yourself a delicious, refreshing 6 o'clocker lager. And, I think the EST Nasties are going to be absolutely all over this. And you're going to want to get your hands on it because it is absolutely delicious. Talked a little bit about Dak Prescott and what he's been up to lately. That league that me and Maddie talk about all the time, I started 1-6, but since then I've kind of kept myself in playoff contention. And one of the reasons that I've been able to do that is because of CeeDee Lamb, another big piece of the Dallas Cowboys offense. CeeDee Lamb has been on an absolute wide receiver 1 tear as of late. Here's CeeDee's last 6 games. 7 catches, 117 yards. Caught 12 of 14 targets, 158 yards and a touchdown. Caught 11 of 16 targets, 191 yards, no touchdown. Caught 11 of 14 targets, $151 touchdown. Caught 6 of 9, touchdown. Caught 4 of 9, touchdown. Mixed in a rushing touchdown in that one game where he had 151 yards. Like, CeeDee Lamb has been a monster too. I do like CeeDee Lamb score a touchdown tonight if you want to throw another little sprinkle in over at the at our friends at Coolbet. But that's something you can look at as well. Mitchie R says, I'm zipping out on my lunch to get some 6 o'clocker lager. That's good. That's good. I plan on stopping on the way home today, maybe picking up a flat for myself, stock up the fridge here for the holiday season, which will be really nice as well. All right. That's going to do it for your Fantasy Football 5. Join Lieutenant Derek tonight. We got 2 guys and a goalie coming up here in about 5 minutes on Edmonton Sports Talk. If you are listening online on TuneIn or at edmontonsportstalk.com, you'll hear our house band, Whale and the Wolf, and then myself, Matt Cassie, and Joaquin Gage setting up the Oilers and the Jets tonight. Don't go anywhere and tell your friends about Edmonton Sports Talk. The fun continues next.